Hi folks, I've completely finished the squadron of French Dragoons, and I say squadron, but they're meant to represent a cavalry brigade? No, that's much too many for brigade, sorry. Probably a regiment, at least this is how I'm going to approach trying to do Borodino. I know it's a bit ridiculous, but it's going to be very scaled down. I'm thinking of representing one, but well, what we would usually call in Black Powder a battalion, but put that in place as a regiment. So rather than field, what have we got here for Borodino? 5 battalions per regiment. You're looking at 5, 10, 15, 20, so you're coming up to 20 battalions per division, keeping in mind that just one corps at Borodino had 5 divisions. It's getting a bit ridiculous. You're talking, if we've already got 20 battalions in the 5th division, say, and that's the last of 5 divisions, so 1st Corps under Davout. Just twirl around, I'll show you these in greater depth in a minute. Just been handwriting out from the Borodino book, just so I have it sinking into my head, the various divisions present at Borodino, and of course the several corps that were there. And this is Davout's corps, 1st Corps, and there's 5 divisions. 1st Division under Morand, 2nd Division Friant, 3rd Division Gerard, 4th Division Deseux, and 5th Division Compans. And Phil, if you're watching, you're welcome to criticise my French here. And then under those you've got the brigades, and the brigades are quite interesting because the regiments are so large. They seem to consist of a brigade of infantry, so they're like as if they were synonymous, unless I've misread brigade and it's actually like a brigadier perhaps of a regiment. Maybe that's the more correct term. There's a lot of things I need to read up on, but I'm starting to get a taste for it. I'll talk about the infantry some other time, but I was just trying to give you an idea. The brackets are for regiments which did not consist of 4 battalions of infantry. So as you can see there, 1st Corps, there's all 5 battalions rather than 4. The exceptions there, we've got the regiment Joseph Napoleon, and that's a Spanish regiment, or raised in Spain at least, and that's got 2 battalions for that regiment. And the 127th line has 2 battalions. I'm not sure if that's a supplement or one supplemental sort of just to make up the strength, or maybe it had been under strength and just banded in with the rest of that 3rd division. Lots of things to be discovered there. We've got the 1st Corps cavalry then under Girardin, with the 1st Light Brigade and the 2nd Light Brigade. Lots to discuss. I've been really enthused about Borodino. I'm really set on it. I've made my order from Perry Miniatures, the first order I've made from them for metals from the Metal East, and I've ordered the only troops that I'm aware of that might have been holding on to their shakos as a full unit, and that was the Old Guard. Seemed to have managed to keep it despite it had been discontinued. I'm sure they had some sort of special treatment from Napoleon and the senior marshals, and yeah, they were able to wear that, especially on the march, and then putting their skins in some sort of cover on their haversacks then. And yeah, the Perry miniatures look stunning, and I'll do a short review of those when they arrive, but you all know how superior almost Perry miniatures are. They're really spectacular, and as you can see, the plastics are very nice too. I've got the Elite Company on the left here, and after that very long ramble, I just wanted to give you an idea of what I'm trying to approach with this Borodino project, and it's going to be a very big project. It's going to be in my attempt at really collecting, these large units. But as I said there, you can't really collect 20 battalions per division, and for that first corps of Davout it would be ridiculous. You're just looking at that now, going on 60, at least 60 battalions of infantry just to start is just a bit ridiculous. So this is what I'm settling on. I'm coming back to the cavalry now. Rather than these representing a squadron, and they're already a small squadron, these dragoons will represent a regiment of dragoons, and they represent a lot of men per figure. But bear with me, I just want thematically to be able to say, these are the dragoons of whatever they might be, and I'll just give you a taste of what I'd like them to represent. Well, we've got Grouchy's 3rd Cavalry Corps. They're obviously not going to represent a division, that's much too large, but I would consider them being, say, the 7th Dragoons, and I've actually painted them. It's a bit of a coincidence, really. I've actually painted them up in the 7th Dragoons facings, which is solid red on the collar, rather than just red trim over green. And I'll show some of these in detail now. The standard is, I think, off for Borodino. I have read up on the flags now, and some people on the forum, on the Black Powder forum on Facebook, have been really helpful. It's worth checking out these Facebook groups, because they're, social media is not for everybody, and I don't really use it, to sort of go on and on about various things, but some people might do normally. But no, it's a really good community and very helpful. These flags it's probably an 1812 flag, but despite Borodino being 1812, they seem not to have had this sort of Bardin reform affecting them very much, so this flag is actually unlikely to have been with them, very unlikely. I don't know if there's exceptions, whether some of the new flags did come through, if some of the new uniforms reached battalions in time, but I don't believe so. It seems that they were largely pre-1812 reform uniforms, yeah, and that's what I'm aiming to buy with all my figures. And I've realised that I've got 2 battalions of French, both the Swiss and some French Fusiliers, that have got Bardin reform uniforms and Bardin reform flags, and for me, I'd rather sell those on. I have been selling some things, like this morning I sold my Peninsular War British. I'm not interested in doing skirmishing anymore, and it's also amassing some quite comfortable capital to invest in more peri-miniatures, and saving up as well for when they release their plastics, which will be ideal for the Borodino campaign. And yeah, I just hope you like these guys. I've really gone out on a limb to paint these up. I don't know if that's the correct term, but I've really pushed myself and just see what I could do. The white horse I'm particularly happy with. There's 2 of these white horses. I could have done a sort of speckled grey, I suppose. You can see that sometimes. Black horses, as other people have said, a bit hit and miss with the black horses. This is my favourite sculpt, yeah, and again you can see on the black horse I've gone in with a bit of black grey there, but then after a black wash that just tries to give you a sort of subtle black, and it's looking shiny there. They're not too bad outside these bright lights. I wasn't sure with black horses about the horsehair, whether to go lighter or very dark, almost matte black. I'd appreciate if anyone told me that. And I've painted the regimental number on their blankets. There's a term for those, it escapes my mind, but some of them are better than others. I picked up this figure just because I like his facial expression. There's a bit to him, whereas most of the figures, actually, the faces are quite small because peri-miniatures are quite fine. So the elite company then. I'm quite comfortable painting brown horses now. I did a lot of them for the Zulu War. Not getting my fingers in the way there. And that's the elite company, and the trousers there I've done with a bit of German camo beige mixed in with white. I made quite copious use of my shades with these, but still a lot of layer painting involved as well. That's the officer, and fairly happy with him. He's got the silver braiding. I'm aware that my video time is coming slowly to an end. Hope I'm not bothering you folks with too many videos. I have been busy with these, and they've taken up quite a lot of my time. I'd actually seen the game before, and they were essentially just base coated, and makes me sort of cringe deeply to think that these had been on the table in such a sort of state of unreadiness, but now, alas, they are ready to face the dastardly Russians. Just to give you an idea, I've tried to set them up there in a sort of squadron formation. I don't think you'd want that approaching you with great speed. And I've placed the elite company just on the right, just because out of habit with the infantry, I suppose, the grenadiers on the right. I'm not sure how correct it is. I'm not very familiar with cavalry formations actually. I think you can just set them up in a block. Napoleon seems to have just used his cavalry as sort of a hammer. One channel I'd highly recommend would be Napoleonic Wargaming, that's what it's called, and he's very good. He's going into the Napoleonic characters at the moment, the various personalities of the Napoleonic Wars. He's just done one on a British officer, name escapes me yet again, but really interesting and high quality. You know, they're always mini documentaries. I really like the format. I'd highly recommend you check him out, and there's just a wealth of information there. He's going through a lot of French formations, young guard, middle guard, old guard. I'm sure he'll go on to some of the famous Fusilier regiments and things, etc. The only thing I'll go back to do with these now is perhaps replace the flag, and I won't be in a rush to do that, but it's something that I'd be happier with them if I did change the flag. I think the equipment on the Dragoons is quite consistent, regardless of the Barden reforms and pre-1812 uniforms. I think it's quite apparent with Fusiliers, but not so with cavalry. I think same for the cuirassiers, etc. So yeah, I'll bring this video to a close. I just wanted to showcase the Dragoons. Really happy with them, and yeah, despite all the rambling, I don't want them to represent a squadron. I want them to represent a full regiment, you know, not even a battalion. It's just the scale of Borodino is such a huge battle with hundreds of thousands of men.